Anthony here of the Bloody Point. Today I'm making a video that has been a long time coming, addressing the topic of our favorite subject of late to discuss and to despise, I suppose, the Conduit capture mechanic in PlanetSide 2. So I think I've come up with a way to save the mechanic, to make it something that's fun to play as opposed to a chore or just something you avoid altogether. And I'm going to demonstrate and detail how I think that might be done. So here's some footage from CTF, or rather, sorry, Conduit capture as we know it in PlanetSide 2. The experience one has playing this mechanic varies greatly depending on the nature of the fight conditions, the base, etc. But I think that if we look at the history of Capture the Flag, we can perhaps get some inspiration on how to improve it. So this is footage from Doom. Doom is where we first saw this this mechanic, and specifically the two-fort map appear in the gaming world, shall we say. This footage is from a great breakdown on YouTube by user Led. I apologize, I don't know his actual name. That's just the handle he uses. So thank you for this. Here we see the familiar to anyone who has played CTF two-fort maps, the origins, or at least the general layout as it first appeared. Then of course it was done in Quake. Quake Capture the Flag was a lot of fun. You know, I'm an older gamer, so I was actually playing these games when they first came out. It occurs to me that, you know, this particular map has been done and redone over the course of literal decades in multiple games. So every generation of gamer probably has some nostalgia for their era's two-fort or Capture the Flag. And I think one of the keys to the success and longevity of the mechanic, and this in particular this map design, is because it is done so well and it has been done so many times and has been play tested perhaps more in terms of total hours than any other game type, game mechanic, or at least, you know, map style. The two-fort Capture the Flag map is not just, you know, good in terms of its visuals and its layout, but also in terms of the game flow that it produces. And I think that's something that's really important and missing from the Conduit, you know, version of that in PlanetSide 2. However, I think that the elements which make it successful are fairly fundamental and straightforward, and they, as it happens, could actually be duplicated in PlanetSide 2 fairly faithfully, enough to give us something that would play similarly and as such be enjoyable. You know, Team Fortress is one of the longest running games of its type, and it is still immensely popular. And although two-fort is not its only map, or Capture the Flag is not its only game mode, it is very successful. So here we see the famous ramp room, and you saw the bridge, and these are, I think, two of the elements which are key to the success of the game mode and the map. And there are two things which can very easily be accommodated in PlanetSide 2, including forts. So here we have Matherson's, a singular station, the only one of its type. And as you can see straight away, it gives us something very similar to a two-fort type situation. You can see each tower serving as a fort, one for the attacking and one for the defending team. And here we have the other key element, the bridge. You know, the bridge is short in this case, but it does serve its purpose. I mean, you know, look, I hate to say it, but we even have very reminiscent stair layouts. You know, this is more than just superficially similar or aesthetically similar. I suspect that were these maps modified slightly to emulate the Capture the Flag two-fort type of map, we would get very similar gameplay, and it would be, if not successful, at least, at the very least, a vast improvement over what we have now. So as you can see, the tower layouts are, again, as I said, superficially similar to the fort layouts. The positions of the flag and the repository, or the conduit rather, and the repository are different from that of the flag and the capture point in 2 Fort, but not that different. And with a slight tweaking, I think you could get something similar enough for it to be successful. So here we see the defender has the spawn room protected by the shield. Now, 2 Fort, of course, there are 2 flags, and the objective is to go into the enemy's fort, take their flag, and bring it to the capture point in your base. It could conceivably be done with a lot of coding changes to have the attacker and defender in PlanetSide 2 each have their own flag, which retains the ownership of the respective party. But I think that might be too much work, and what I think we have here is an opportunity to demonstrate that with slight variations using existing assets and mechanics, existing maps even in most cases, we could get something that's significantly different from what we have now in terms of the quality of the experience for the players, and similar enough to what has made the game successful again across literal decades and like half a dozen games, if not more. It's successful for a reason, and I think it could be successful in PlanetSide 2 if done correctly. A lot of people feel that capture the flag has no place in PlanetSide 2, and I disagree. It was created initially in a deathmatch world to give team play more meaning, to have a kind of a format for that, and PlanetSide 2 is kind of like, in some ways, the ultimate manifestation of that initial desire. You have like team play en masse in this game, and I think it would be very cool to pay homage to the game type, the game mode, and even to do that with something that's very similar to 2 Fort, which is the main map that it was seen in for so long. So here we have footage from PlanetSide 2 showing a different base, but a decent example of a base where, because of the layout and the positioning of things, you do get a decent play experience. And again, it features a bridge. And I think the bridge is very important for the success of this game mode. And in the case of the Matherson's base, I would put the single flag on the bridge in the very middle between the 2 towers, and have each side have a conduit, the attacker and the defender, one in each tower, for them to bring the flag to. Again, there are other ways to do this which might be better, or at least more faithful to the 2 Fort style layout, but with a very small investment of dev time, literally moving the flag a few meters, and no other changes, could perhaps revitalize and even save this game mode, even if it appeared only in that one map. There's an idea, a theory, that the sunk cost fallacy is what's keeping the devs from addressing this and not wanting to remove it, and I get that. I've done some game development myself, and I understand what's involved there, but I think that it could be done, and if it can be done, I think it should be done. So move the flag, no other changes, see how it plays out. You could test it on the test server. I think the test server is a great opportunity to demonstrate the willingness to make iterative changes and see how things play out. And hopefully that this is one case where that could be done. So thanks as always for watching. I appreciate it, and I hope this idea gets some traction and we might see it.